Levi's here, so who cares about my mic? If you guys want to line up to ask some questions and have a great panel, let's bring about Zachary!
Turn it off and then turn it back on again. Thank you. Hey, let's hear it for the wonderful staff here at Fan Expo Chicago and our wonderful ASL interpreters that are making sure everyone understands the crazy shit that's coming out of my mouth. Who has all been to a Zachary Levi panel before? Show of hands and woots. Okay, cool. So hands down. So show of hands if you've never been to a Zachary Levi panel. Lucky. You all get to get it fresh for the first time. So listen, guys, I'm a couple of oh, are these little marks that tell me what I'm right? There you go. See, if I go past that tape right there, I walk off the screen. That's what happens. So these are my boundaries. And guys, we gotta respect boundaries, right? We gotta set and respect boundaries, right? Okay, cool. So listen, at my panels, sometimes I curse. I know there's children present. I appreciate their naivete and that they have yet to be subject to a lot of the words that might come out of my mouth. This might be a first time for them, and I apologize ahead of time. But I do work on it, I do, but also I'm just a very expressive person, and I think the word fuck is very expressive. I think it can be a very helpful word sometimes. I don't think we should level it at people, but I do think it's a very, very helpful word in our overall vocabulary. So sometimes I curse, sometimes I cry, sometimes, because we get deep into these panels sometimes, guys, and we talk about deep things like loving ourselves, right? That's like kind of the most important thing. Who out there is loving themselves? You guys feel like you're loving yourself? I need more people cheering for that. I need everybody loving themselves, because it's the most important thing that we can do in our lives. When you can love yourself more deeply, you can love everybody else more deeply, and then the world becomes really fucking groovy, guys. So I just encourage you to do that. In fact, right now, turn to the people around you and say, I'm so glad that you're alive, and I'm so glad that you're here right now. Tell everybody.
So glad you're alive. I'm so glad you're here.
It feels good, right?
You brought my shit.
Now hold your own heart. Now hold your own heart. Hold your own heart. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Hold your heart. Close your eyes. Repeat after me. I fucking love you, you beautiful person. There you go! There you go. So, as Megan mentioned, and for those of you who have been to my panels before, you realize I don't typically do a moderated situation, which is not to say that I don't love the beautiful moderators at any one of these conventions, but I find that they ask me a lot of the same questions that any of you could ask me, and since I'm really here for you, I would rather talk to you. So, without further ado, we have these two mics you can walk up and queue up behind. Please know that a lot of you might ask me questions that I've already answered before, but I will still try to give you as much of that back as I can. If it's something that is very obvious, I might be very quick with it, but nonetheless, I love that it's coming out of your individual mouths. And this is very difficult because I've got a beautiful Captain America, no?
Stargirl.
Stargirl, of course, I should know that, it's in my universe. I was testing you all, I knew exactly what I was doing. And a Bo Peep of sorts,
It's a maid.
It's a maid! It's a maiding! No, all right, we're gonna go with Stargirl, and then we're gonna come over to Miss Maid. All right, so Stargirl, shoot. First question, out of the gate, what is it? No pressure.
I just want to say you're in my favorite TV show.
You have excellent taste in television.
And I wanted to know if you have a favorite memory with your co-stars Yvonne, Joshua, and Adam.
Yes. Oh, actually, I probably should have talked about that. Hold on a second, guys. Some more housekeeping. So, some of you may know we're in a strike, multiple strikes in Hollywood right now. And by the way, strikes that I very much support, mainly because actors and writers and really people all through all of our crews have really been shit on for far too long. And which is not to say that people like me, schmuckos like me, haven't made a lot of money. I'm very grateful for the career that I've gotten. But I am a part of a very small percentage of actors in Hollywood that are blessed enough where I'm not super hurting right now. Most actors that are in the Screen Actors Guild are really hurting right now because even when we were working, they weren't getting paid what they deserved. So I want to make it very clear, I am very much in support of both the WGA and SAG strikes. Amen. Absolutely. part of that strike, you may or may not know that there are certain things I'm not technically supposed to talk about. Like all the things you're about to ask me. So what we're going to do is, I'm gonna try to honor all that, but also recognizing that I'm not the one who is bringing these ideas into your heads. You are coming to me with them, and I'm gonna try to answer these questions as authentically as possible, while also making it kind of like a fun word game where nobody knows what we're talking about, right? Awesome. And before I get to that, and I will get to that, I promise, Dargo, one more thing about all of the strike and stuff. I can't stress this enough, and I know there's a lot of you fellow nerds out here and futurists and technologists and people that understand where we're at right now as a human society and where we're possibly going to be 10 years from now if we're even still alive. And so what I know we joke, it's funny because it's true. So AI is one of the biggest parts of what we're striking about in Hollywood right now. And a lot of people kind of, you can find a lot of these opinions online. Well, you can find any opinion online, can't you? But there's a kind of divide in AI. Some people are like, hey guys, it's the coolest thing ever, and it's helping all of us do these cool jobs, and look, things you could never do before, you can now do. And granted, there's some really cool things we can do with AI right now. But I think, like with every very powerful fucking thing that we ever, in our stupid hubris as human beings, come up with, we have to recognize that that power can very quickly consume all of us and all of our jobs. So know that as Hollywood, we're asking you guys to support us as humans, because very quickly, even if we get great contracts in this round, a few years from now, AI is going to be so good that you won't be able to tell the difference. In fact, even right now, I'm sure some of you have probably seen some of the videos that are circulating online where photorealistic graphics are representing human beings now. You can double anyone's voice, you can double people's movements, you can literally write whatever you want to write. So in Hollywood, it's specifically hitting us in the creative world. But just so you know, and this is not trying to be doomsday, but also it is, you guys have to make sure that you're aware in your own industries, in your own jobs, look at where technology is going. Because eventually, it will come for us all. So we have to support each other, right? We have to support humans. We're trying to fight Skynet before it gets here, guys. You gotta support humans. You gotta fight for humans. We gotta fight for each other. Otherwise, we're all unemployed, and then they don't need us anymore. So anyway, back to your question. Best memories? Let me get into that. To be perfectly honest, I have a very hard time accessing like specific memories oftentimes, because particularly on this show that you may or may not be talking about, where I played a nerdy guy. Oh, hello? Oh, we're still working. Okay. But that was 5 years of my life, and it was so hard fought. And we were like, it was both one of the most like euphoric things I've ever gotten to do, and also one of the hardest things I've ever gotten to do. And so some of the memories that I cherish the most aren't even like the happiest necessarily. It's like when all of us were so tired and it was 4 in the morning on a Fratter day, and we're like, what are we doing? But then we're like, come on guys, let's go. Like, what a cool job that we have. We get to go and play these amazing characters and go bring joy to people's lives. But it galvanized us all. So my favorite memories are just like being a family with those guys, because we are. And even though I don't get to see them nearly as much as I used to then, I love them so much. And I can't wait to one day make a Chuck movie and keep, movie. I mean, a movie about potentially a thing that you might understand. Okay, great, perfect. Little Bo Peep. Come on, man.
Well, hello. Hello. I am a huge fan of your work, from television to major motion pictures, but also the musical revival that you're in, if I can say the name.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, Broadway's totally fine, so yes, go ahead.
All right, so it's called She Loves Me.
Yes, She Loves Me.
She Loves Me.
Hey, anybody else seen She Loves Me out here in the audience? Give me some whoops if you actually saw it live. 1, 2, 3. You're my favorite people in the room. I'm kidding, but you kind of are. Don't tell everybody. And then how many people got to see it like on TV, like on Broadway HD or something like that? Or like, yeah, right? Well, thank you, I appreciate it. Did you enjoy it?
I love it.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I do.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay. You said I did, but your head kind of shook and I couldn't really hear it. I was like, this will be awkward, okay.
I love it.
No, talk to me, what's your question?
Yeah, so I just wanted to know if you have any stories about the challenges you faced, maybe going from screen to stage or vice versa.
Yeah. Well, hold on, I'm gonna take a sip. Thank you. By the way, people question me sometimes. They're like, why are you tipping it upside down? They're, you know, because you can put a straw in these guys. But I don't like the straw, guys. I don't like it. It messes, like it's the... Never mind, doesn't matter. It's harder to get the water out, and I don't mind doing the tip. Anyway, what was the question again? Oh yeah. From stage to screen and vice versa. So listen, I started on stage. I was a little spazzy actor kid that could not shut up. I could not shut up. I had no off switch. God gave me this energy and desire to want to bring joy to people ever since I was a little kid. Because when I was like 4, I figured out, oh my gosh, I can intentionally make someone laugh. Like, because prior to that, you know, before 4, we're always like, you do something silly, people laugh, and you go, what did I do? What did I do? And then you try to recreate it, and it's just bad and bad and bad. But around 4, I was like, oh, I can intentionally make someone laugh. That's amazing, because I also knew at 4 that a smiling, laughing person felt good on the inside. And I was so stoked. I was like, this is a magic trick, and I never want to stop doing this magic. And so, theater has always been my first love, and I encourage everyone who thinks about going and being an actor, if you really want to be an actor, actors act. So don't sit around and wait to go be in film and television. Go and find a theater somewhere, even if it's a little one. I did like little, you know, community theater was so much of my life, and I learned, and I was doing plays with optometrists, you know what I mean? Like people in their spare time, like doing the Fantastics with my buddy Bob, who was an optometrist. And it's like, what are we doing right now? You're learning and you're growing and you're doing it, and you get to interact with people live. Like, this is why I love these so much, because I actually get to be around people that I love so much. And the energy, right? You can kind of feel the energy. Like you feel other people's energy, which is something we need to do more of. This is why we're all at each other's throats as a country and as a world, because we don't like our neighbor, because we don't see our neighbor. We don't know our neighbors anymore. And when we all gather in places, I can guarantee you that this swath of beautiful faces out here, that some of you feel very strongly about this particular thing, and some of you feel very strongly about this particular thing, and sometimes those things don't agree. But guess what we can all do? Sit down in commonality and actually just talk about certain things, talk about mental health, talk about entertainment, go and see movies together. How great is it when you sit in a packed theater with a bunch of people and you watch a movie? It's a way different experience than when you're sitting there on your couch, which is also very fun too. Also, this is not me promoting for the studios. Don't go and support them right now. But you understand what I'm saying? So for theater, I mean, that's been since I was a little kid, and I will always love it. And I love the live aspect of it. In fact, I've told some people today, another cool thing about theater is that you get to connect with the audience right there in the moment. So I know if it's working or if it's not. I know if people liked what I did or not. When I go and do Broadway, people come and they laugh or they cheer. Hopefully they do all of those things. And then oftentimes they'll come to stage door, which is like kind of like where all the actors leave after a show. And I'll go out there and I'll sign autographs and take photos and stuff like that. And I get immediate feedback. It's an immediate feedback loop of, am I doing a good job? With film and television, we do it in a total vacuum. We're on a soundstage somewhere. There's no audience around to be like, oh my God, I love what you're doing with the role, you know? And so it's only when I get to come to conventions. So one of the reasons I love coming to conventions, one, I basically get paid to love on people, which is really fucking fun. And I highly recommend it if you can find a job like that. But also part of that is because it closes this really fun, really, I think, important loop of y'all getting an opportunity to come to us and say, start crying, see? You get to come to us and you get to tell us things like, you know, the show that you did or this film that you did carried me through darkness. Carried my family through darkness. You know, like those things, I mean, being an actor is super fun, but the fact that I get used to help people is like the way coolest. That's like way cooler than anything. So anyway, those are some of the differences between theater and film, and I love them both. They both have their challenges, and they both have their, you know, incredible blessings in my life. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, sir. Oh,
Thank you. I was always wondering from an actor's standpoint, and you do a fantastic job with...
Thank you.
Well, hadn't even gone to the questions, but
yeah,
yes,
no.
you do.
I do fantastic with everything, so I was just staying ahead of you.
With creating a mood or you know, actors, you know, in situations like, for example, that television show that you did for 5 years with, and you have a best friend, Mr. Gomez. Do and in your superhero show too, where you have a best friend, you do a really good job of seeming like you have like a shared history, even though obviously you're both professionals just been kind of brought in. Do you do extra work, or how do you prepare to create that sensation of like a shared history, of being best buddies?
Well, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, I think that's God, really. Like, every time I've gotten a job, like Josh Gomez and I, we're not acting. I wish I could say that we're so good at what we do. And we are. But we were cast as ourselves. I brought my Xbox to work, and we would, like, literally we were shooting the pilot of the show that you were just referring to, and we were shooting the pilot in this electronics store, and there was a real electronics store. We built the store that we worked in, the more permanent version of that later, but in the pilot, you can tell it's a different store, a real store. And they had all the lineup of all the TVs and everything, and we were going to be shooting at this place for a couple of different nights, and Gears of War had just come out, and I was like, we are sawing people in half all night, my friend. and Josh and I were so about it. We were those nerdy guys. So there was shared history. And by the way, and it didn't end there. I mean, the levels and the correlations of what we were nerdy about and what we loved and passionate about, and even just things that have happened to us in our own lives personally. There was a lot of that, you know. But that was all this wonderful gift that landed in my lap, because I had no control or history over that before, right? And then the same, you know, really, I don't know. What I try to do is I try to make an enjoyable environment for everybody. As much as I can, when you get to be the lead of things, you have, you know, you get a lot of blessing from that. And I think, you know, not to get too Spider-Man on it, but like with great power, I believe blessings and power are kind of similar. With that great power, great blessings comes great responsibility. And so I think my responsibility on set is to always just love people as best I can, try to be as professional as I can, be on time, don't leave everybody fucking waiting all the time, know your lines, hit your marks, but also have fun. And so, like on movie where I was red. Figure that one out. Bet you can. Like, I've got this big Bluetooth speaker I'll just bring to set and on the soundstage or outside or whatever, and I just play literally dance pop music like all day long. And you know, I'll bring my Nintendo Switch and we'll play Mario Kart or whatever, like on that particular film and others. You know, I just give opportunity to, even if you don't have shared history prior to that, start your history right then. Start that bonding, start that investing in each other, even if it's through, you know, video games, which, by the way, is a pretty fantastic way of investing into relationships sometimes. I mean, have you seen, I'm sure you guys have seen some of these videos of like people that have played Call of Duty together for like 10 years, and then all of a sudden their spouse, like unbeknownst to them, flies their buddy that they've never met in person, and they show up at their front door, and it's just grown men being like, oh my God, I can't even believe it, like they're just falling. But it's an amazing testament, right? So like, even though video games can also be, by the way, very, very unhealthy addictions, FYI. That's just dopamine coming at you left and right, and they know that. So is your social media, FYI. If you haven't watched a documentary called The Social Dilemma, I highly recommend it. It's on one of these stupid streaming companies that I can't talk about. But it's a very, very good documentary, and it talks about social media and how it's basically hijacked all of our minds. Great watch. You should really check it out. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so all that stuff. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Yes.
Oh, okay. So, you said that you came here for all of us.
Yeah.
Well, my daughters and I came here for you.
Thank you.
Because I have loved you since you were on some show in the early 90s.
Yeah, where I might have played a secretary?
Yeah, where you
Wait, early 90s?
Was that early 90s?
How old do you think I am? And if you think I'm that old, I look fantastic. Let me tell you.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm a lot older. That's why I think it was the
you
90s,
don't look it.
right? So I just want to say that I don't know so much that I have a question for you, but I think it's amazing that you're doing what you're doing here, that you take the time out of your schedule to stand up there and ask, you know, let all these people ask you questions, take pictures with you. give autographs to people and give them an opportunity to just say, you know, hello, I love you, you're phenomenal.
Sure.
And in case everybody in the audience doesn't know, he is an incredible triple threat, what we call in acting. So he's
Video games.
No.
Juggling.
No. Singing, dancing, and acting.
You're right.
Anyone that doesn't know.
You're right.
Yes.
I am. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I see
Oh
the
dear.
light.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
And it's like
No.
fog has lifted.
Not gonna do it.
But he can't do it. He
Thank
can't
you.
do it.
Thank you. I
But
appreciate that.
just in case you didn't know, and so the one thing I'd like to ask is,
Yes.
what do you do in your free time to relax? Maybe besides
Sometimes,
video
actually, yeah,
games?
sometimes. You know, it's interesting. I mean, I definitely recognize that through lots of therapy that genuinely, at least in my life, and I would encourage anybody else out there who loves video games, maybe take a look, just a little bit of a look, into how much that might be self-medication. For me, video games has been a huge form of self-medication for a really long time. Now, not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because I like babies, and
yes,
but I think that there can be still even I don't know, a healthy investment of like getting a little bit of that salve sometimes. And so, you know, occasionally I will absolutely go and find myself completely lost in a video game. I don't know if anybody played Hades, but yeah, a couple of people. That was crack cocaine. That was so it started as a good like, I'm just gonna treat myself, and it was like, come on, man, I just need more of this. But in my I don't know. You know, honestly, in my free time, what I'm trying to do now at this point in my life is I'm just trying to invest in myself as much as I can, and that means not like make me the priority over every situation that I find myself in, or somehow thinking that I or any of us should think that we are somehow the center of the universe, because we are not. But we are the center of our universe in essence. We are responsible for our little microcosm of the universe. And one of the things that has been very hard fought in my life, as I've learned, but it's so important, is loving yourself, which is something I talk about all the time because it's the most important thing. I won't stop fucking saying it. Love yourself. Treat yourself by loving yourself. But that is a huge part of what that is actually like physically investing in yourself. Like, are you waking up and are you getting good sleep, first of all, right? Are you eating well? Are you getting up and moving your body? You know, I've been getting into like cold plunging and stuff like that, which I don't know if anybody else here cold plunges, but it's crazy, but it's amazing. It's so good for your body. But all these little ways, and I'm 42 now, right? I'm trying to take care of the gift that God gave me with this meat bag that I get to walk around in.
Smart.
So that's the kind of stuff. And also just trying to build other businesses and communities that will bless the world. That's what I want to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Yeah.
So I really loved you in a movie where you played a specific football player.
Oh, that football movie that I may or may not have done. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And I noticed one of your coworkers in the show that you were on for 5 years was in it. And I was wondering...
Oh, yes!
I was wondering what it was like.
Isn't this fun, by the way? Everyone's like, what is she talking about? Hold on, let me do the long math. Carry the one. Oh! Yes, continue.
So what was it like working with him again?
Oh, fantastic. She's... I'll do the math for you. She's referring to Adam Baldwin, who was my big Papa Bear on Chuck, and still is. Love that man so much. And we got to have some fun in that American football movie, and it was wonderful, you know, because we hadn't seen each other for a minute, and we certainly hadn't worked together since we had done that other thing, and so it was so delightful to have him come on, and he was great. He played that role so perfectly. So yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, over here.
I really don't know what I'm gonna ask, but
that's what I like about it. It'd be pretty boring if I did.
Okay,
you got it.
All right.
You got it.
My question to you is, who is your favorite wrestler turned actor?
Favorite wrestler turned actor? This is a game of hot potato.
You got
This
John
is a game
Cena.
of hot potato.
You got Stone Cold.
I don't know, probably De Bautista. I think I get to work with him on a thing that we were talking about earlier. And he's such an incredibly kind soul. Like so much great work ethic and so much kindness in that big burly man of his. And so yeah.
You ever hit rock bottom with him?
I'm sorry, what?
You ever hit rock bottom with him?
If I have a what?
Have you ever hit rock bottom with him?
Hit a rock bottom with him?
Yeah.
No.
No. Alright, thank you.
I guess me asking what that was probably 4 times should have, yes, but yeah, no. But thank you, appreciate the question. Yes, over here.
Hi, I really appreciate your work that you have done over the years.
Thank you.
My question to you is, if you could be any Disney Broadway production, if you could be in any Disney Broadway production, what would it be and who would you want to play?
I mean, well, so here's the thing. So I've had people come out to me for years now because there's always been like these rumors of, oh, will there be like a Tangled Broadway show? I mean, the movie with the hair Broadway show. That was a genuine slip. And or a live action version of said movie. And they go, you're gonna be the guy that you played in the thing, right? You're gonna do that. And I, as much as I am honored that they would want me to continue playing the best prince ever. You're fucking me right. Cause Eugene for the initiated. But yeah, I mean, listen, I would love almost all of the roles I played. To do another iteration or another iteration, I loved playing them, so I would love to do it. But also, I am, per the story, Rapunzel is 17 turning 18.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Not that I haven't been younged down for some other roles, but I don't know. Like there was a rumor that Florence Pugh, there was this thing floating around the internet, I just saw it earlier actually, somebody sent me that Florence Pugh would potentially might play the role of Rapunzel. And if Florence played Rapunzel, maybe. Which would also be a trip because my real last name is Pugh, by the way, it's P-U-G. My name is Zachary Levi Pugh. So you'd have a Pew Pew in Tangled? Come on! I mean, the movie? So that would be really fun. But from a story perspective, I'm not 24.
Oh, I'm 24.
Anymore, so you should play it. This is what we're getting at. This is what we're getting at. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the question.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your work.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Yes, over here. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Really well, thanks.
Okay, that's not my question.
It didn't have to be.
No. It's kind of a 2-part question.
Okay.
First question.
Well, a 3-part now, but okay.
Good point. Well made. First part is, it's a philosophical question.
Love it.
So this
Bring
has
it.
nothing to do with the whole SAG situation.
Love it. Perfect.
If people learn from their mistakes, why are they afraid to make them? And what's your love language?
Let's start with that one.
I suck at flirting, so no.
What was that? Was that you? Did somebody hear a voice right now? Was that you? What was that?
It was me.
What? I didn't hear it, but apparently it was hysterical. So start with that one, because that's easier. So, of the love languages, I think that you're referring to, those 5 love languages.
Book by Gary Chapman, yeah.
What's that?
Like the book by Gary Chapman.
Yeah. So I think physical touch, probably number 1. I think that that's partly because if you can hold hands with somebody, even if you're angry with them or something, as long as you've got a connection of like that, everything's gonna be okay, hopefully, unless it's a super passive aggressive handhold. So that's probably number 1. And then quality time, and then acts of service, and then words of affirmation, and then gift giving. Probably in that question. And then as far, what was the first part again?
If we all learn from our mistakes.
If we learn from our mistakes, then
why are we afraid to make them?
Why are we afraid to make our mistakes if we learn from them? Well, I think that, a couple of things. One might argue that maybe you haven't learned from them if you're still afraid of them. So that could be a way to unpack it. But also, I think that you can learn intellectually. You can make a mistake and you see the ramifications of what that is, and you can see, oh shit, I did X and now here's Y. So you can learn it intellectually, but you're still not fully metabolizing it emotionally, so therefore you're kind of still stuck in that. And by the way, I might even go so far as to say you are going to continue to self-manifest that in your life the more afraid you are. It's like, skiers that go in like these crazy tree runs where you're just barely getting in between trees, right? The best ones that do that, they never look at a tree. They're never looking at the trees to get between the trees. They are looking at the between and staying in the between. And similarly, if we are looking at and fearing these trees that are coming at us, these things that, lessons that we have or haven't learned or whatever it is, if we're sitting there and fearing it, you're drawing that to you. I think energetically, I kind of think that's how the universe works. So, yeah. Does that help?
Yeah.
Word, cool. Love it. Love the philosophical questions. Yes! Hello, Blondie.
Hi.
You can bend that down. There you go. You're like, Chevy, yes, if I could just ask one question.
I've had this question written down for months, and I'm sorry if it's already been kind of talked about.
All good, don't worry about
it. In today's world, there is so much self-deprecation, and many people don't know how to show themselves love and grace. So I wanted to know, as like a way to encourage other people to do the same thing, what is your favorite thing about yourself? Or in other words, what do you want people to remember you for? And not just like for the roles you play, but like you as a person, because you're really amazing.
I know I can. I know. Honestly, I don't try to stop myself from crying in these moments because I'm afraid to cry. I know that if I start going, it's probably, now I'm pulling myself back to me. Like, it could go, right? So, but I love accessing my feelings. Guys, it's so important that you cry. I can't tell you. And when I say guys, when I just said guys, I meant everybody, but now let me be very specific. Men, please allow yourself to access your feelings. Please allow yourself to access your emotions. Crying does not make you less of a man in any way, shape, or form, right? But we all need to be responsible with our emotions because nobody else is responsible for your emotions. We are all responsible to understand why we're feeling what we're feeling and then not go and be blaming everybody else for how we're feeling, but rather do the work on ourselves, right? Amen. Let's get good. You do that too. But feel it all. Don't ever do that. Don't ever hold that back. I'm really trying not to. I don't know. I think. I love. Ever since I was a kid, y'all, like I don't even know what year it was. There was a TV show called what was it called?
It's okay, you can't say it anyway.
No. Life Goes On, I will say. There was a show called Life Goes On. It was in the 80s. And it was was like a family drama, basically. And it was the first time an actor, as far as I know, I might be wrong, but there's an actor, and he played the role of Corky. And he was like one of the first actors that had Down syndrome, actual Down syndrome. And he was like the star, basically, of the show. And it was kind of about this family that had a child with Down syndrome and a daughter who didn't. And like, what were all their lives like, and how did that impact their lives and whatnot. Now, by the way, I have a nephew, a little wonderful nephew that has Down syndrome. So the connections to all of these things are really incredible. But I'm watching this show. I have no idea what year it was. I was definitely sub 10, 7-ish or something like that. I don't know exactly the year. But we're over at a friend's house. Me, my sisters, my mom, her friend, their kids. We're all watching this TV show. And I am watching Corky get bullied at school. I have never, by the way, I'm still in elementary school. I don't even understand the horrors of middle school would end up being, and even in high school. But I understood it all. I was like, what is happening? This is, as you probably have witnessed in your life, people with Down syndrome have a tendency to be the most angelic, non-judgmental, loving, like all with everything in their hearts. And all these kids that just made fun of him and bullied him, and I lost my shit. I would not stop crying. My mom and her friend had to take me into the other room because they were like, what just happened? What is wrong? What did something break on the like, you know, and I couldn't, I just kept saying, it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair. So that, and then, Lord, when I saw Forrest Gump, let me tell you guys, that broke me in half. Watching Forrest Gump shattered me because again, you're watching this. By the way, a fantastic movie. I mean, right? I'm not trying to send. Sorry, sorry, Zach. I'm really not trying to. Anyway, whatever. But this movie, I was 12, I think, or something. And we're on a family vacation and in Lake Tahoe area, and we go to this theater and we go see Forrest Gump. And I'm making it through most of the movie. Now, I don't know how much you guys remember of this movie, but basically everyone in his life, all the things that could possibly go wrong to this guy who is not necessarily Down syndrome, but is, you know, special needs, but so, like, everything was just nothing but authenticity and love, and he just wanted the best for everyone and would never take advantage of anyone. The fact that Bubba dies, he still gives him half of the company. Like, all of those things. And I'm like watching this guy and I'm like, we should all be this guy. We should all be this guy. And to watch him be ridiculed the whole movie, and then you get to the point where you're now caught up with the movie, and he's been sitting on the park bench telling all these strangers his whole past, and you're kind of getting all the backstory. And then he's like, and you know, I'm just trying to get to this place. And the lady's like, well, if you're just trying to go there, you can just go right there. And he runs up and he goes to Jenny's home in present time. And he's meeting Jenny, and he's like, oh my gosh, and all this love, and all they're talking back. And there's this little kid there. Little Haley Joel Osment, wasn't it? I think, maybe? Yeah. Man, little Haley Joel Osment. And he's sitting there, and they're having that conversation. And she just kind of drops. She's like, he's like, oh, you know, what's his name? And she goes, his name's Forrest. Oh boy, it's gonna kill me right now. Hold on. She goes, his name's Forrest. And he goes, oh, that's my name. And she goes, yeah, he's named after his daddy. And then, I don't know if you guys remember this bit. Ready? He goes, after he's been ridiculed and mocked and everything, the entire movie, and never retaliates, never even lets on anything. He starts crying, and he says, is he like me? So he knew the whole time, he knew that everybody ridiculed him and mocked him, and he still loved, and he loved, and he loved. And that's the soul that I want to live this life with. And I want all of us to live this life. Thank you for making me weep. No, I love it. I love it. No, I love it. I love it. Thank you, and I love you. And keep loving yourself. Okay? Okay. All right. Yes, sir. 5 minutes. Ooh, sorry. Guys, I'm very verbose and tangential, as you've noticed, so sometimes these answers are long. Continue.
That was very deep, a little hard to follow. I appreciated it. I appreciated the person before me. I didn't get to bond with you on the love language question. But just a lot of great questions have already been asked, but I would just like to know maybe something that you look forward to as a dream project, something you would look forward to doing. I know we have to be respectful of the strike.
No.
Or even individuals that you would like to work with again, or that you haven't had an opportunity to work with, you'd like to work with in the future.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll answer the first part of that, and I'll talk about it not in the form of like specific projects, but like meaning movies or TV shows, but a project of mine that I've been trying to do for 20 plus years now is listen, all the things that are going on in Hollywood right now, this is not new news. The way that all of these relationships have been playing out for decades and decades and decades have been very obvious to a lot of us and a lot of people, right? But everyone just kind of like in all industries, everybody's just kind of like, well, that's the way it goes, right? Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, yeah, it's not broke for the people at the top. It's never broke for the people at the top. But it's always broke for everybody downstream of that. And I despise that. So I feel like God gave me a super deep heart to love, but he also gave me an engineer's mind to go look at problems and fucking fix them, because I am sick of the way that this country and our industry are led. I'm tired of it. And I've been tired. And we're all fucking tired of it. But it's very hard, because it's like, well, what do you do? What's the next step? Who's going to go and make these changes? Because everybody in the, you know, like the same thing in DC as in Hollywood. You can't change it from the inside. It's all corrupt. It's all corrupted. And so for multiple decades now, I've dreamt of building a new kind of united artists studio. Well before all this strike and all this stuff was going on, I was like, there's got to be a better way. There's a better way to incentivize and to nurture and take care of all of the actual artists that are making all of this stuff to begin with, and also making it way better for all of y'all downstream of that. Because the way it's set up right now is that the artists are not really taken care of. Obviously, that's why we're striking. And also, I personally feel like the amount of content that comes out of Hollywood that is garbage, that is not, they don't care enough to actually make it great for you guys. They don't. How many times do you watch a trailer and go, oh my God, this looks so cool, and you go to the movie and it's like, this was what I get? This is what you sold? I mean, and by the way, and this is the crazy thing, they know this too. How many people actually go and get a refund on a movie ticket? Really? Almost never. I mean, I see a hand in the back, that's cool, good. But I don't normally. Like, because it's a hassle and you don't want to be the, like, whatever. So you end up going and you're sitting in the movie and you're like, whatever. And also, we've spent the money, we spent the time, we get all the way there. We don't want to feel like we got duped. So what we do is we try to find all the things we like the most in the movie, and then we kind of give it a slide. They know this. So they know that once you've already bought the ticket and you're in the seat, they've got your money. And the only way for us to change any of it is to not go to the garbage. We have to actively not choose the garbage, guys. It'll help a lot. Anyway, sorry. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the work you've done and what you're doing.
Thank
you for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate you. And I think we have time for one more.
Hello.
No pressure.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Hi, I love you so much.
Hi, I love you so much.
I just wanted to say, like, with my childhood, I remember my brother getting me Tangled, and he fell straight through it. He's older than me. He's gonna sleep straight through the movie. But I remember watching the movie and just being like, wow, like, this is an amazing movie, like, specifically a one where you play as a prince. And even—
Do I? Continue.
And even as you play as a certain superhero as well, I just want to just really give, like, I can't even talk.
It's okay.
Just a thank you for everything you've done, and I just love you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. And I'm going to end it on that one, because I just want to say back to you and to all of you here, thank you. Thank you for being here. I know you could be out there right now, and you chose to be here with me right now, and we got to go deep and talk about stuff that means a lot to me, and you mean a lot to me, and I hope that you mean a lot to yourself. That's where we start. Go love yourself. Go fucking love yourselves, okay? Yes. I love you. I love you, Chicago. Let's change the world.